Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor, and I'm going to be your host for this Lessons from the Cockpit. I am very excited to be here. This is something that we stream every Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So welcome and come on in. Today we're going to talk about how to optimize your workspace, and that is something that I believe that a lot of virtual assistants don't think about when they are considering what will make their business successful. So tell me where you're coming in from in the chat. I would love to hear. Lessons from the Cockpit is brought to you by the VA Connection. And at the VA Connection, I work with my students in my new students, aspiring and established students, to help them create really the business of their dreams as a virtual assistant. And today, like I said, we're going to talk about our work environment and how critical it can be to your success. All right, so before we jump in, I want to introduce myself. So this is me and my daughter Emily, and this was us about 13 years ago. And I was just starting my business as a VA, and it's interesting because when I was going through all this, I wasn't really clear on what was happening. But as time has passed and as I've reflected, I realized, that I really got off track in life. And here's what was going on. So at 30, I had all these goals. I want to have this kind of job. I want to live in this kind of a place. We all set these milestones for ourselves, or a lot of us do. And by 40, I wanted to make a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. I had my list. And by 50, I was really clear as well. But what the problem was, is I was kind of heading in the opposite direction. So I'm sliding into this big milestone, 50. And instead of being happy, I am really unhappy. And instead of being happily married, I am getting divorced. And instead of being the homeowner that I wanted to be, I'm having to sell my house because I can't afford the mortgage and I hadn't paid it for over a year. So you're kind of getting the drift here, right? I thought I would have financial security. I've been saving for retirement and really on it. And instead, my savings are gone. And what I have is 6 figures worth of debt, 7 years of back taxes. It's like everything is so off the rails. And the problem was that I didn't know how to turn it around. And the bigger problem was I thought it was too late. I really thought it was too late. And the thing about it was that kind of thinking was keeping me stuck. It was definitely keeping me stuck. But my confidence was really shattered. And I had to figure out, what to do. And so I decided that I was going to do office work. I'd been a secretary back when that's what they used to call us, in the dark ages. And really enjoyed that work. So I started telling everybody that I knew. And I didn't have this whole concept of virtual assistant baked because I had never heard of that before. And so it was a matter of over time figuring out how this was going to work, how I was going to get paid, what kind of skills I wanted to bring to the table, what I wanted to learn, all of those things. And how was I going to create a business? Because what I did know was that I didn't want a job. I didn't want someone else to be in charge of what I was making or be in charge of my schedule. I was very clear that I wanted to be able to pick up my daughter from school if she was sick and be at the bus stop and, all those kinds of things that you can't do when you have a job, at least not the kind of jobs that I had had in the past. And so by leaning into this and creating a plan for myself, I was able to start a business. I called it Rocket Girl Solutions. And I did this in 2010. And since I've been in business, I've worked with over 225 clients over the last 13 years and made over $1 million from my home doing admin work for lovely people who, are a joy to work with. And the first year that I was in business, I made $70,000. And every year after that, I made $100,000 working as a virtual assistant for clients all over the country. And then after a while, I had some clients in Europe and Costa Rica. And so it was exciting working with all these delightful people. And then I'm going to click the fast forward button. And it's what it looks like today. So yesterday was my second wedding anniversary. This is our wedding picture. And with all the boys, David, Charlie, Stephen, and Andy, and Emily in the middle next to me. And there's been a lot of changes since then. I am no longer completely stressed out about money all the time. I don't have credit cards where I'm struggling and making minimum payments and, feel like I'm going to be doing this forever. The taxes have all been filed long ago, and are getting paid. And, it feels good to be current with all of that. And, it was a journey, but really at the core of it was making a decision about my life. What did I want it to look like? And I stopped listening to everybody who was giving me their opinions about what they thought it should look like and what I should do and blah, blah, blah. And I just quieted the noise and I leaned into what I wanted, which was being a mother and being self-reliant, and figured out a system that makes it work. And that's what I bring to the VA Connection, is the systems to do that. And I do that through my courses and my coaching programs. And I would love for you to look at those and consider joining me if you would like someone to help you, guide you along your path. All right, so let's jump into this whole idea of optimizing our workspace. So here's the thing, because we work remotely and our clients don't really see our work environment in person, we still need to take care of it. We still need to make sure that we're in a good working environment, and it's easy for that to just get out of hand. I know every once in a while I'll look around where I work and I think, oh, we got to reel this back in, because you just start piling stuff, but it's really important. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about location. All right. And this is actually my desk. My office has changed a little bit since then, but this is my desk. I have 3 monitors. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what you want to do is you want to find a permanent spot. The family room may be empty during the day, and you might think that's a good place to be, but sometimes you're going to need to work when other people are around, unless you live by yourself, and that's a whole another ballgame. But, and the guest room is tempting, but when the guest comes, and I've heard VA say this to me, I work in the guest room and now, and we have a guest and they're going to stay for 2 weeks. And now I don't know what to do. And, so it's much better to find a quiet nook or, cranny in your house that's going to be permanent. I have worked in a bay window of my dining room, because I rarely have guests in the dining room when I'm not eating too. So that works out okay. I've worked in a corner of my living room. I've worked all over the place. And in 2020, the kids were all gone, and we had a spare bedroom and another place for a guest to stay. So I moved in and made this my own, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it's quiet, off the beaten track, and you want to make sure it's where you can leave work. Where you can leave work and come back to it. And I'll often write a Post-it and put it on my keyboard of what I'm doing next, so I don't have to have that whole thought process. So you want it to be where no one is going to touch your stuff. And you also, from time to time, you're going to want to take everything off your desk and reevaluate it. It gets piled up here, hair ties, multiple pairs of glasses, the necklace I had on yesterday, it can just get piled up, and you want to make sure that that's not the environment you're trying to do your best thinking in. Okay, good. All right, let's talk about desks. All right, so a good desk is important. Now, you want to make sure that the desk can accommodate your work, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But here are some of the desks that I've used over time. For a long time, I had a dining room table from IKEA, and the space that I worked in was about this much wider than my desk. I really didn't need a lot of room on the sides. And it over time, so I'm 5'10", and Greg bought me a standing desk a few years ago for Christmas, and that was really great because I can adjust the height, and my legs are not all twisted up underneath, which when you're 30 or 40, your knees feel fine, but when you're 60 and you've been twisting your legs up underneath the desk for 40 years, there starts to be a consequence. So we got the standing desk, and it's been great, and that was from IKEA as well. And it can be new, used, borrowed, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be able to really hold your work. All right, hold your work. Chairs are really important because we are sitting on them, all day long. And I want you to think of it as an investment in your health. So if you are in a chair and it's making your back ache or you're uncomfortable, you really want to look at that. Now, this is the chair that I'm in right now. And I've had this chair, I've probably had this chair since like 2004, 2005. It still looks great. It's still comfortable. I have in the past had sort of chronic back pain, and this supports that not happening. So definitely think about that. It doesn't have to be expensive. This particular chair I got it at some big discount from a friend who was a designer, but you can get equivalent chairs that are awesome and will be supportive, but don't overlook this. Don't overlook this. All right. So the other thing I want you to do is I want you to plan for paper. So my office is about 98% paper free, but I do have some files that I need to keep. So you don't need a big filing cabinet. In fact, I've gone kind of the opposite way. So this is a dresser from IKEA that matches my desk. And this is where I keep my paper. Greg's stuff is on the right-hand side and mine is on the left. The top drawer is my supplies, the second drawer and third drawer hold my paper, and they are organized in files. And it's not like the olden days where I was always in the filing cabinet. It's paper. Like, for example, I just finished submitting, I'm going to be in a book called Shine Your Light in October. It's coming out in October. And I finished submitting my final draft. So all my notes, all my drafts that I want to keep, at least for now, are in a folder and they're in that drawer. It's not something I'm referencing on a daily basis. Okay. I'll show you what I do about that. So dressers work great, baskets, filing cabinet, shelves, you really want to think about that. Now, I think this is a nightstand. Actually, it is a nightstand. I was going to it's right behind me right here. And this is sort of my desk drawers because my desk doesn't have drawers. So the things that I keep in here, I keep my business cards, lip gloss, my iPad, my receipts are in here, my hairbrush. I have a glasses caddy because I have all these different pairs of glasses depending on what I'm doing. And that sits right there. I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool. That sits right on this little table as well. And this is from Umbra, and I probably got it I got it at the Amazon store when we used to have an Amazon store in town. So that is good as well because I used to have all these pairs of glasses all over my desk and it was driving me crazy, right? So think about that too. So this is what my desk pretty much looks like. This is an older picture. I don't have my monitors on an old computer that's on its side anymore because I have the standing desk and I can raise the monitors that way. But you really want to think about having multiple monitors. It's unbelievably effective and efficient when you do that because you can, here's an example. Let's say you're doing someone's email newsletter. So you've got MailChimp or Constant Contact in the middle. Then over here on the right monitor, you've got their Word document that that you're pulling the information from. And then on the left, you have the email. So you send yourself a test, you look at it, you check it against the original, and then you make changes in the middle. So it's just crazy efficient. Also, if you're working on people's websites or even spreadsheets, to be able to see two pieces of information, or frankly, your calendar. When I am emailing someone to make an appointment, I don't have to keep toggling back and forth to look for times on my calendar and then remember them for the 10 seconds that I can't remember and write an email about them. I'm writing the email and looking at my calendar at the same time. Once you do this, you're never going to be able to go back. It's really awesome. Okay, good. Now let's talk about decor. All right. Now, if for years and years, I guess really for the first 7 years, I was in a room that already existed, and I decorated it according to the function of the room. But when I got my own office, I went to town a little bit, and so I want to show you what it looks like. So I have a bookcase. It's actually a way more packed than this right now. But a plant and things that make me happy. And then this is my desk, and I look out over this. I have a really lovely view of our backyard. So I keep plants on my desk. And then this was something that makes me so happy. If you have a child or a niece or a nephew and they send you artwork, what happened to me was I save it. You go through it over the years and you save your favorite 200 pieces of artwork, right? And then it just sort of piles up. So because I'd moved so many times, I had 2 cardboard boxes that were flat with the artwork in between, and there was tape on it, and it was under my bed. And it was under my bed for a really long time. And I wanted to frame it, but it was going to be really expensive because all of these pictures are different sizes and they're not custom frame sizes, right? Because it's just whatever the teacher gave to your child. And so I worked with Emily on this. And what we did was we went to Michael's, which is like a craft store in the US, and found these very affordable frames. This whole wall was $100. And maybe you can't see it very clearly. Let me show you more. Hold on one moment. Okay, so so you can see this is all of her artwork. And what we did was we cut it to fit the frame. So for example, these are 2 finger painting pieces. That used to be one giant thing. So we put the frame, these are clear plexiglass. We put it over the piece and then cut it so that it would fit in the frame and still, and still be representative of what the original was. So we had a lot of fun. And you can deduct decor from your taxes, at least in the US, because it's part of your office. So that's pretty cool too. So make sure it's a place that you enjoy and that you feel comfortable in. You've got what you need. The other thing I want to talk about are supplies. Now, supplies, I used to have my supplies in what we call the junk drawer in the kitchen. So I'm going in there to get the scissors, or I'm going to Greg's desk to get the tape, or I'm going over here for a paper clip. So don't do that. Go to, wherever you buy your supplies and get what you need. I have this little basket here that I use, and I keep Post-its and 3x5 cards in it because I'm always using them, right? So make sure you have the things that you need at your fingertips. And I keep a couple of Post-it pads here, but over in my drawer, in my dresser, there's a whole bunch because I bought a big cube. So I always have them on hand. So I jokingly call my 3 monitors my money-making cockpit, sort of playing on the whole Rocket Girl concept. And my family knows that they don't touch it. They don't touch it. They don't borrow my stuff without asking me, because this is like my zone. It's my zone, and it's important. So pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to what it feels like. Put supportive information up for you. I have a lot of things that are from friends and from students that, they send me things to thank me, and have them around you. Makes you feel better. All right, good. And so somebody this is probably to Laura, Dark Ages, liked my comment about the Dark Ages. It was the Dark Ages, right? Of the internet. All right, good. So that wraps us up for today. I hope you'll take these concepts that we talked about and apply them to your own business, and think about how you can make your environment a better, more productive, and essentially more billable place for you to get your work done. Now, one thing I want to say before we go, enrollment is open for VA School right now. VA School is my 9-month signature program that will bring you from wherever you are, just getting started, been in business for a while, to the next place where you want to go. I'll help you grow and scale your business. And if you're starting from scratch, that's a great place to start too. So check it out at vaschool.info. Enrollment is open until midnight tonight, and I would love to have you. I'm going to be doing some bonus events all day today, so please check those out. We're going to have a session on the Done For You email newsletter system at noon, which is going to be very helpful. So come check that out and let me know if you have any questions. All right, I would be happy to answer them, but keep in mind we're going to close enrollment midnight tonight. All right, have a great rest of your day. There's plenty of opportunities for us to be together, so please check the events in the calendar, in the Kickstart Challenge Facebook group, and also the VA Connection Facebook group. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye for now.